Welcome to the edge of North America, where the sun rises first at Cape Spear, where ancient icebergs drift through the Atlantic in Twillingate skies, where whales breach, puffins soar, and the nature roars. From the candy-colored charm of Jellybean Row to the raw wild beauty of Bonavista, this is Newfoundland, rugged, remote, unreal. A journey to the edge of the world begins here. Alrighty. So this is the start of our Newfoundland journey. In this vlog, we are exploring St. John's, catching the first light in North America at Cape Spear, walking through the Jellybean Row, stopping by Vidi, and heading out to Bonavista to see some puffins. So let's go. We landed super late last night. Our flight got delayed and we reached our B&B around 2 a.m. and now it's just past 4 a.m. and we are already on the road. Barely slept, but totally worth it. We're heading to Cape Spear right now to see the very first sunrise in all of North America. Yes, all of North America. I'll show you once we get there, but for now, I just wanted to show you what St. John's looks like at night. It's so quiet, peaceful. Kind of reminds me of Nova Scotia or PEI, but there's something a little different here. This place has its own charm, the houses, the air, the vibe, and I'm already loving it. Alright, let's go chase the sunrise. Okay, so we just reached Cape Spear. It's early, like really early. Still kind of dark, but you can see the sky starting to change. There's a bit of light creeping in. There's a little bit of hue, kind of that in-between stage bit before sunrise. It's freezing out here. The wind is strong and it's constant. Not even a break in between. You can actually hear the Atlantic waves just mashing into the rocks non-stop. This place feels raw, like untouched. The grass around here is this pale golden color, kind of dry and blowing and everywhere. For a second, it reminded me of that scene in Gladiator when Russell Crowe walks into the field with his hand brushing the crane. Same kind of vibe. Peaceful but powerful. So here's the most striking part. Cape Spear is actually the easternmost point of North America. So technically, this is where the first sunlight hits the continent every single day. Just being here, waiting for the sun to come up, it hits differently. It's not something you really think about until you're standing in a place like this. You know what I mean? There's a lighthouse up here too, one of the oldest in Newfoundland. It was built way back in 1836 and has been the main approach light for ships coming into St. John's Harbor ever since. What's cool is that this place is now a historic site of Canada. It's not just about the lighthouse itself, but also the lives of the people who lived and worked here. The lighthouse keepers and their families, I mean. The original lighthouse building and the lightkeeper's house have been fully restored to how they looked around 1839, and they're actually open to the public. We didn't have much time, so we didn't visit, but feel free to visit anytime you visit this place. And the history here doesn't stop at ships and light keeping. During World War II, Cape Spear was also used as a coastal defense site. It was called Fort Cape Spear, and it played a pivotal role in protecting the eastern shores. These days, besides the history, it's also a spot where locals come to watch whales, birds, or just hang out. You really get the sense that this place means a lot to people. And honestly, with how rough and dramatic the coastline is, it makes total sense why they built a lighthouse here in the first place. Alright, so now we're heading to Signal Hill. Driving up Signal Hill, the view starts to open up. You can see the whole city and the harbor down below. That building on the top is Cabotar, sitting right at the summit. There was a map here showing St. John's and how Signal Hill looks over everything. You can see why this spot was so important strategically. Between the 1790s and 1870s, Signal Hill was fortified by British Army. The defenses were helped protect St. John's and played a big part in shaping it into the capital. There was also a section about Great Fire of 1892 here, one of the worst disasters in the city's history. More than 1700 buildings were destroyed overnight and nearly 1900 families were left without homes. But somehow only 2 lives were lost, which is incredible given the scale of the fire. Some displays also shows the landmarks like Old Courthouse, the Basilica of St. John the Baptist and the Government House, giving a glimpse into what the city looked like back in 1800s. And then there's Cabotar itself, probably the most iconic landmark in St. John's. It was built in 1898 to mark Queen Victoria's Diamond Jubilee and 400th anniversary of John Cabot's voyage. But the coolest part? This is where the first transatlantic wireless signal was received in 1901 by Guglielmo Marconi. That moment changed global communication forever, and it happened right here in Cabotar. As we take in the view from Cabotar, remember this: Signal Hill hasn't been just sitting here looking pretty. It's been a strategic lookout since 1600s, guarding the Narrows, the one and only entry into St. John's Harbour. Every ship coming in or going out passes through here first. Now let's fast forward to World War II. This place went full fortress. The US and Canada teamed up to defend against German U-boats in the Atlantic. On February 4th, 1941, the US Army officially set up a coastal defense battery right here on the hill, complete with two 8-inch railway guns and 155mm mobile guns plus anti-aircraft systems. By mid-1941, there were nearly 500 American soldiers stationed up here in 18 barracks, with mess halls, recreation areas, even tennis courts. And under the rocks near the Narrows, they set up submarine nets, heavy steel chains that could be lowered to block enemy subs from sneaking in. You can also find old mooring rings hidden in the stone if you look closely. The hill even had a Quonset hut near George Pond, functioning as an ammo magazine and storage. Most were cleared out after the war, but to still remain today. Now I'm hiking down towards the old ammo storage and one of the main lookout points. This is where the soldiers used to keep watch over the entrance to the harbor and where the submarine nets were lowered into the water during World War II to stop enemy subs from sneaking in. Stick around, some really stunning views coming up from down there. That's Signal Hill. That's Atlantic Ocean for you. And this is history. In case you're wondering what those letters stands for, so the intertwined letters GR stands for Georgius Rex, and the marking you're seeing on the top is a crown which represents royal authority. Also, this marking would have been cast directly into the cannon barrel, symbolizing that it was a property of British Crown. So what you're seeing here is likely the cipher of King George III, who reigned from 1760 to 1820, a period during which many British cannons were cast and deployed throughout British colonies, including strategic military points like Signal Hill. Holy guacamole! Those are some effing big guns. Pardon the language. Alright, I'm not quite there yet, but I'm slowly making my way towards one of the most iconic sites in all of St. John's, Jellybean Row. These houses, bright, bold, and packed with personality, have become a symbol of Newfoundland itself. But they're not just pretty for Instagram. There's actually a quirky bit of history behind them. The legend goes that these colorful houses help sailors find their homes through the fog, and if you have ever experienced a true Newfoundland fog, you'll know how much that was needed. St. John's is famously foggy. It's one of the foggiest cities in the world. So locals say the colors were like a lighthouse for their own front door. But fun fact, there's no official Jellybean Row. It's not a single street, it's actually a nickname for clusters of colorfully painted row houses scattered around St. John's. The name caught in 1970s when revitalization projects encouraged homeowners to repaint in cheerful tones, giving the city a unique identity. Today, many of the hues are inspired by traditional Newfoundland palettes with shades that would have once been used to paint boats and fishing sheds. And guess what? These homes are old. Many date back to 1800s when they were first built close together for warmth, shelter from the ocean, and of course, community. St. John's is North America's oldest city, and these homes are part of that living history. Another fun fact, there's actually a Jellybean Row shop where you can buy prints and designs inspired by the homes. So yes, the aesthetic has become its own brand. From postcard to puzzles and fridge magnets to murals, Jellybean Row is now a full-blown cultural icon, and it's rooted in something simple: color, community, and creative spirit of Newfoundlanders. Almost there. Can feel the energy shift as colors start to pick through. Keep watching. This next part is a feast for the eyes. So, as we were walking along, we stopped right here, and as per a friendly local we bumped into these 4 or 5 row houses on the left. The yellow, red, blue and green ones are believed to be among the original Jellybean Row houses. They said that there were some of the first ones built or painted in this iconic style, which helped inspire the color movement that followed throughout St. John's. Whether it's folklore or fact, it's one of those little local gems which you only hear when you're actually here. And honestly, that made standing here even more special, knowing we were right at the spot where the legend of Jellybean Row may have truly begun. Okay, here we go. I'm walking into Vidi, a charming, colorful fishing village just minutes from downtown St. John's. It's like continuing the Jellybean House story, but in full coastal fashion. These bright, cozy homes perched along the Gut Harbor are classic Newfoundland. Think of a smaller seaside Jellybean Row, right down to the pops of color and salty breeze. Originally a 17th century cod fishing outpost, Vidi has that timeless rugged feel. Stone-rimmed stages, centuries-old cottages, yet now there's a lively mix of local breweries, artisan studios, and that famous Mallard Cottage restaurant. It's brilliant for a bit of hiking or biking. Head up the Sugarloaf Path for ocean views or wander the East Coast Trail Loop. I didn't get to fly my drone, schedule was tight, but the vistas were well worth it. You've got history, heart, and those iconic colors for days. So, after exploring Vidi, we had a long journey ahead, all the way to Elliston, which is also known as Puffin colonies. We reached quite late, around 10 at night, and honestly I was exhausted after all the driving. But the rest of the crew still had energy and they actually went out to catch the northern lights, and lucky them, they saw an absolute stunning display dancing across the sky. The drive at night was an adventure. At one point we had to stop for moose crossing the road. Just classic Newfoundland moments. Now it's a new day and we're heading to see some puffins, one of the best places in North America to spot them up close. We'll also do a bit of hiking and check out those traditional root cellars. They're like old school outdoor refrigerators carved into the earth, used for storing food in Newfoundland's past. So stay tuned, puffins, cliffs, and some coastal charm coming right up. Now that we are in Elliston, the fascinating town known as the root cellar capital of the world, let's talk about why these little underground caverns were so special. Elliston is home to around 130 to 135 documented root cellars, tucked into the hillsides and the grassy banks, and about half of them are still in use today. These structures date back to 1800s and early 1900s, built by the fishing families to store potatoes, carrots, turnips, and other vegetables before refrigeration was a thing. They cleverly maintained temperatures between just above freezing and around 8 degrees Celsius with high humidity, perfect for long term storage. Building them was a community affair. Neighbors pitched in, hauling flat stones, digging together. Some of the larger ones even have an airlock style entrance, 2 or more doors to keep frost out. But it's not just about food. These root cellars connect to the heart of the community life. Kids used to play in them, people shared them, and folklore grew around them. Local would tease that babies were brought back into the root cellar, or that boo darbies or little goblins hid inside. Today, root cellars are part of Elliston's identity and tourism draw. While walking towards the Puffin cliffs, you'll see them dotting the hillsides. These days, there are even pots of roots, rants, and roars, a festival blending food, hiking, and local storytelling, featuring dishes made from the root cellar stored vegetables and crowned by a King of Cod competition, which is, by the way, a chef competition. So next time you wander around Elliston's Puffin Cliffs or Sandy Coves, remember, it's these humble, historic root cellars that helped shape community life here. Quite a legacy hidden beneath those grassy hills. Now, let's go and see some puffins. So stay tuned. Alright, so now we're here to watch some puffins, and man, these little birds are just awesome. They're often called the clowns of the sea, and you can see why. With their bright orange beaks and little wobbly walk, they seriously look like cartoon characters. What's wild is their beaks actually only look this bright during breeding season. In winter, they go dull and plain. It's like they have a whole glow up just for summer. And get this, their beaks even glow under UV light. Scientists think it might help them attract a mate. Fashion and function, right? They're also incredible flyers. They flap their wings like 400 times a minute and can fly up to 88 kilometers per hour. And underwater, total pros. They dive down to 60 meters chasing fish like capelin and herring. And they're just not cute, they're loyal too. Puffins usually mate for life and they come back to the same nesting burrow every year. They dig these tunnels under or use rocky cracks. Both mom and dad take care of the baby, or puffling, which is honestly the best word ever. Newfoundland is the best place in the world to see them. Like 95% of North America's puffin breeds right here, including at Witless Bay, where there are 260,000 nesting pairs. So yeah, puffin paradise. Anyway, I could watch them all day. These puffins are just too cute and hilarious. But hey, we got ground to cover. Right now, we are heading towards Dungeon Provincial National Park near Bonavista, and trust me, the visuals are gonna be next level. The place is famous for massive collapsed sea cave, like a natural archway carved out by the ocean over thousands of years. You've got rugged cliffs, waves crashing through the cave openings, and some seriously dramatic coastline. It's wild, raw, and totally beautiful. Exactly the kind of spot that makes Newfoundland feel like another planet sometimes. So stay tuned, we're rolling into some stunning stuff ahead. Let's go. Alright, so this is my classic passenger prince moment here. Me just chillin', waving my hand outside the window because I was kinda getting bored. We're on this long drive heading to a small coastal village called Trinity B. And let me tell you, it was not a straight shot. We kinda got lost on the way. The network coverage here out is pretty sketchy and the GPS completely gave up on us. So we ended up taking some wrong turns and just had to figure it out the old school way. But anyways, Trinity B is this really charming little place right by the Atlantic Ocean with those signature Newfoundland style colorful houses, a cute church and this calm peaceful vibe all around. Total storybook setting, still on the way but almost there, and I've heard it's worth every bit of detour, so stay tuned. Alrighty, after a tiring but totally worth it journey through places like St. John's, parts of Bonavista and everywhere in between, we are now hitting the road again. We are off to Twillingate, and this time we are cruising through the stunning Terranova National Park, which means long stretches of wild untouched beauty. First off, thank you for sticking around and watching all of these. Seriously, I appreciate you being here. And now, get ready, because coming up in next vlog, we are diving into some absolutely jaw-dropping iceberg adventures. We are taking icebergs up close, icebergs in different shades of blue, touching them, sailing around them, the whole iceberg quest experience. It's gonna be cold, it's gonna be magical, and it's gonna be one for the books. But honestly, the best part about Newfoundland, it's not the colorful houses or raw rugged beauty. Though that's all amazing, the most striking part is the people. Like genuinely, the people here are so warm, so friendly, so real. They actually stop to talk to you, share stories, laugh with you and make you feel like you belong here. That kind of human connection, you don't get that everywhere in the world. I've been to places, but Newfoundland, this place has my heart. It really has my heart. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever visited, not just because of the landscapes, but because of the people. So yeah, thank you again for riding along this journey, and don't go anywhere because the next vlog is gonna be something special. We're heading into the iceberg capital of the world, Twillingate. And it's gonna be packed with insane visuals, stunning moments, unforgettable adventures, and some stunning drone shots. Catch you there. You don't want to miss it. Stay healthy, keep your family safe, and see you in next vlog.